You're standing in Walmart right now, staring at that wall of Samsung TVs, and every single one of them has a price tag that makes your credit card nervous. $1,500, $2,000. Some of them are pushing $3,000 for what looks like the same glowing rectangle your neighbor bought last year. But here's what nobody at Walmart is ever going to tell you, and I mean never. Because if this information got out, their entire TV department would lose about 40% of its profits overnight. There's a specific hack, a loophole really, that lets you walk out of there with a premium Samsung TV for sometimes half the sticker price. And no, I'm not talking about waiting for Black Friday or begging some teenager in a blue vest to price match Amazon. This is way better than that. Let me tell you exactly how I discovered this, because it's one of those things that sounds too good to be true until you actually see it happen. I was helping my uncle buy a TV last month. He's retired, doesn't trust online shopping, and specifically wanted to go to Walmart because he had a gift card burning a hole in his wallet. We walk in, head straight to electronics, and immediately this sales guy swoops in like a hawk spotting a field mouse. He's pointing at the brand new Samsung 75-inch QLED, talking about quantum dots and AI upscaling, and all this stuff my uncle doesn't understand or care about. The price? $2,200. My uncle's face goes pale. He's thinking about his gift card, doing mental math, realizing he's still going to be dropping over $1,000 out of pocket. Then I notice something. Right next to this gleaming new model, there's an older Samsung, same size, 75 inches, but it's from last year's lineup. The box is slightly dusty, there's a small tear on one corner, and the price tag says $999, less than half. Now here's where it gets interesting. I pull out my phone and start comparing specs. You know what the difference was between the 2024 model and the 2025 model? The newer one had slightly better peak brightness, maybe 200 nits more, and a faster processor that honestly only matters if you're trying to load apps half a second faster. Everything else, the panel quality, the color accuracy, the HDR support, the gaming features, basically identical. My uncle ends up buying the older model, saves $1,200, and when I helped him set it up at his house, I swear on everything, it looked just as good as the new one. Maybe better, because he wasn't stressed about the money. But that's just the beginning. The real hack goes deeper. See, Walmart has this weird inventory system that most people don't understand. When new TV models come out, usually around March and September every year, the stores get flooded with the latest Samsung releases. All those shiny new QLEDs and Neo QLEDs and whatever marketing name they've cooked up this season. But here's the thing. The older models don't just disappear. They get pushed to the back, sometimes literally to the back of the store in the clearance area, sometimes just shoved to the side on the same display wall, but with less prominent placement. And Walmart employees are told to move the new inventory, so they're not exactly jumping up and down trying to sell you last year's model, even though last year's model is usually 90% as good for 50% of the price. I started testing this theory. Over the next few weeks, I went to 5 different Walmarts in my area. Not because I needed 5 TVs, but because I was genuinely curious if this pattern held up everywhere. And it did. Every single store had previous generation Samsung TVs tucked away somewhere, marked down significantly, and completely ignored by the sales staff. At one location, I found a Samsung Q80B from 2023 65-inch, sitting on a bottom shelf near the security cameras. Original price was $1,800. Clearance sticker said $749. I pulled up reviews on my phone. This TV was rated as one of the best gaming TVs of 2023. It still had all 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, 120Hz refresh rate, variable refresh rate, everything a serious gamer would want, and it was collecting dust while people were lining up to spend twice as much on the newer Q80C, which had virtually the same panel. But wait, because it gets even better. Walmart has this app, and most people use it to check if items are in stock or to scan barcodes for prices. What they don't realize is that the app shows you the inventory levels at your local store. Here's the move. Before you even set foot in Walmart, you open the app and search for Samsung TV. Don't search for a specific model, just Samsung TV. The app will show you everything they have in stock, including the older models that aren't prominently displayed in the store. You'll see listings for TVs that were released 2 or even 3 years ago, still brand new in box, sitting in the back warehouse because they never sold. These are the golden tickets. Let me give you a real example. Last week, a friend of mine was looking for a 70-inch TV for his basement. He had a budget of around $1,000. I told him to check the Walmart app before going in. He found a listing for a Samsung QN70 Q60B from 2022. The app said limited stock. Only 2 units available at his local Walmart. He goes in, asks an employee about it, and the guy has to check the computer because he didn't even know they still had it. They bring it out from the back warehouse. Box is pristine. TV's never been opened. Original price was $1,400. They had it marked down to $899 because it had been sitting there for over a year. My friend bought it, took it home, and it's phenomenal. Perfect blacks, great color, and he saved $500 just by knowing to look for older inventory. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what if the older model is actually worse? What if Samsung made real improvements and I'm buying outdated technology? Fair question. Here's the truth about how TV manufacturers operate. The improvements between yearly models are usually incremental at best. We're talking about minor tweaks to the processing chip, slightly better brightness in specific scenarios, maybe a new smart TV interface that's honestly just more bloated with ads. The core technology, the actual panel that displays the picture, often stays the same for 2 or 3 years before they make a significant change. Samsung especially is guilty of this. They'll release the Q80A in 2021, then the Q80B in 2022, then the Q80C in 2023. And if you compare them side by side in a dark room, you'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference. I actually did this experiment. I borrowed a 2023 Samsung Frame TV from a friend and compared it to the 2025 model in Walmart, put them right next to each other, played the same 4K HDR content, adjusted the settings to match, and took photos. Sent those photos to 10 different people, asked them which one looked better. 7 said they couldn't tell the difference. 2 picked the older model. 1 picked the newer one. That's not a ringing endorsement for spending an extra $800. But here's something else nobody talks about. Those display models in Walmart, the ones that have been running demo loops for months, getting touched by thousands of customers, sitting under harsh fluorescent lights for 10 hours a day, Walmart sells those too, usually at massive discounts. And here's the secret. Most of those display TVs are absolutely fine. TV panels are built to last tens of thousands of hours. A display model that's been running in Walmart for 6 months has maybe put 3,000 hours on it. Your TV at home, if you watch 4 hours a day, will hit that in 2 years. The display model still has plenty of life left. I bought a display model Samsung once. It was a 55-inch QLED that had been on the wall for about 4 months. Regular price, $1,200. Display model price, $650. I asked the manager if there were any issues with it. He said no, it's just been running demo content, and they have to cycle display models out regularly to make room for new ones. I took a chance, bought it. It's been my bedroom TV for 2 years now. 0 problems. Perfect picture. And I saved over $500. Now let's talk about the timing aspect of this hack. Because timing is everything. The absolute best time to use this strategy is right after new models launch. Samsung typically releases their new TV lineups in March and April. That's when you'll see the biggest markdowns on previous year models, because Walmart is trying to clear space. But there's another sweet spot most people miss. Late December through January. Everyone thinks the deals are in November during Black Friday. And yeah, there are some deals then. But after the holidays, stores are stuck with inventory they couldn't move during the shopping season. That's when they get aggressive with clearance prices. I walked into a Walmart on January 8th this year. They had a Samsung 82-inch Q70A marked down to $1,300. Original price was $2,800. Why the massive discount? Because they ordered too many for the holiday season. Didn't sell them all, and now they needed the floor space for the 2025 models coming in March. Someone bought that TV and basically got a movie theater in their living room for half price, just because they shopped at the right time. Here's another angle. Walmart's price matching policy. Officially, they'll price match their own website and certain competitors. But here's what the signs don't tell you. If you find a Samsung TV cheaper on Samsung's official website, even during a Samsung exclusive sale, you can ask Walmart to price match it. I've done this 3 times. The trick is you have to show them the Samsung website on your phone, prove the TV is in stock and available for purchase at that price, and then politely ask if they can match it. Most managers will approve it because they want the sale. I saved $240 doing this on a Samsung Frame TV because Samsung was running a sale that Walmart's system hadn't caught up to yet. But we're still not done, because there's one more layer to this that practically nobody knows about. Walmart sells refurbished Samsung TVs through their website. Not used. Refurbished. These are TVs that were returned, inspected, repaired if needed, and recertified by Samsung. They come with a warranty, usually 90 days, and they're priced 30 to 50% below retail. Now you can't find these in the store, they're online only. But here's the move. You order the refurbished TV online, set it for in-store pickup, and when you get there, you can inspect it before you take it home. If there's any visible damage, any issue at all, you can refuse the pickup and get a full refund, no risk. I recommended this to a coworker who was skeptical about buying refurbished. He ordered a refurbished Samsung 65-inch for $900, picked it up, took it out of the box right there in the parking lot to check it. The TV was flawless, literally looked brand new. He couldn't find a single scratch or defect, took it home, it's been working perfectly for 8 months. He saved $700 compared to buying that same model new. Now I can hear some of you thinking, this all sounds great, but what about warranties? What if something goes wrong? Valid concern. Here's the reality. Most Samsung TVs come with a 1-year manufacturer warranty regardless of where you buy them. That warranty doesn't care if you bought a clearance model, or last year's version, or even a display unit. If it breaks within a year due to a manufacturing defect, Samsung will fix or replace it. Beyond that, you can always buy an extended warranty. And honestly, if you're saving $1,000 on the TV itself, spending $100 on an extended warranty, and still coming out $800 ahead makes sense. But here's what I really want you to understand. The TV industry is built on psychological manipulation. They want you to believe that newer equals better, that you need the latest technology, that last year's model is somehow obsolete. It's not. A good TV from 2022 is still a phenomenal TV in 2025. The panel technology hasn't changed that dramatically. You're not missing out on some revolutionary feature, you're just avoiding the new model markup, which is substantial. Think about it this way. When you buy a new car, it loses 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. TVs work the same way, except the depreciation happens even faster. A Samsung TV that cost $2,000 in March is worth $1,400 by December just because a newer model exists. The TV didn't get worse. Your viewing experience doesn't change. The only thing that changed is the perception of value, and you can exploit that. So here's your complete action plan. First, decide what size and features you actually need. Don't get caught up in specs you'll never use. If you're not a hardcore gamer, you don't need 144 Hz. If your room isn't bright, you don't need 3000 nits of peak brightness. Figure out your real requirements. Second, use the Walmart app to search for Samsung TVs before you go to the store. Look specifically for models from previous years. Write down the model numbers. Third, go to the store and ask employees to check inventory on those specific models, especially ones the app shows as limited stock. Fourth, if they have it, inspect the box and ask about the return policy. Fifth, compare the specs of the older model to the current model using your phone. If the differences are minor, buy the older one and save the money. Sixth, consider display models and refurbished options if you want even deeper discounts. This isn't some complicated scheme. This is just being a smart shopper in a system designed to make you overspend. Walmart isn't going to advertise this. Samsung isn't going to tell you to buy last year's TV. But now you know, you can walk into Walmart with confidence, find TVs that other people are walking right past, and save hundreds or even thousands of dollars on the exact same technology. The picture quality will be just as good. Your movie nights will be just as immersive. The only difference is your bank account will thank you. And if you want one final piece of advice, talk to the employees, not the commission salespeople, the regular stockers and associates. Ask them when new shipments come in, when they do markdowns, if they know about any old stock in the back. Be friendly, be genuine, and you'd be surprised what information people will share when they're not trying to hit a sales quota. I've had Walmart employees straight up tell me, "Yeah, we've got 3 of those in the back. Been here for months. I can probably get the manager to knock another 100 off if you're interested." The TV you want is sitting in Walmart right now. It's just not where they want you to look, but now you know where to look. Now you know the hack that 99.7% of shoppers will never figure out. Let me share one more story that really drives this home. My neighbor spent $3,000 on a Samsung 85-inch Neo QLED earlier this year. Top of the line, latest model, all the bells and whistles. He was so proud of it, invited everyone over for the big game. And yeah, it looked incredible. Meanwhile, I had been sitting on this information, waiting for the right moment. 2 months later, I found the previous year's 85-inch Neo QLED at Walmart, pushed way back in the corner of the electronics section. It had been a display model for about 5 months. The manager told me they needed it gone to make room for soundbar displays. Final price? $1,400, less than half of what my neighbor paid. I brought it home, set it up, and honestly, I challenged myself to find the differences. I went through every setting, every picture mode, watched the same content my neighbor had shown me on his TV. The new model had slightly better motion processing in sports mode and a marginally brighter screen in vivid mode, but in the picture modes you'd actually use for movies and shows, they were virtually indistinguishable. I saved $1,600 for what amounted to maybe a 5% difference in performance that you'd only notice if you were actively looking for it. This is what the industry doesn't want you to understand. Diminishing returns hit hard in the TV world. Going from a budget TV to mid-range, huge difference. Going from mid-range to high-end, noticeable improvement. But going from last year's high-end to this year's, you're paying premium prices for marginal gains. And here's something that'll really surprise you. Sometimes the older models are actually better. The 2022 Samsung S95B OLED had slightly better color accuracy than the 2023 model. Both are phenomenal TVs, but the older one goes on clearance for $1,000 less. Firmware updates mean older TVs keep getting better. Samsung pushes updates to their TVs for years. A TV from 2022 still gets updates in 2025, improving performance. You're getting a mature product at a fraction of cost. Here's my challenge. In Walmart, walk electronics, check bottom shelves and corners, ask clearance, scan models, compare prices. Find a Samsung with 95% performance at half price. Be smart, get it no.